Hello there and welcome to another replay here at Almost Solitaire. We are of course playing Commands and Colors Ancients, and this time, well, we have reached a battle that is maybe the most epic of the epic battles in the ancient times, at least one of them. This is Gaugamela 331, one of Alexander the Great's greatest victories, if not the greatest victory. Yeah, truly epic, epic thing here. This is, as you can see, is 331, and that's 2 years roughly after Issus, the Battle of Issus, that also took place between Darius III and Alexander the Great. So 2 years has passed, and basically Alexander had done some campaigning in Asia Minor and the Levant. He did some big sieges of Tyre and Gaza. He managed to make the satrap of Egypt to surrender to him, so he got Egypt under his control. And well, so he basically made sure he had his back safe, so to speak, before he launched his attack into Mesopotamia and the Persian heartland. So in 331 he did the march with the intention of attacking Babylon, and meanwhile during these 2 years Darius has of course regained his strength somewhat. He has built up a new strong army. Actually, this army is about the same strength as he had in Issus, so probably somewhere around 100,000 men, which is pretty crazy if you think about it. But anyway, he was kind of scared, of course, that Alexander would come. During these 2 years that passed since Issus, he sent Alexander some letters to, negotiate for a peace. The first one is said to be a quite threatening letter, actually, that said more or less that please go away from our land or else. And Alexander just rejected that, of course. And then at some point he sent a second letter, and I think it's a bit debated on when he did send it, but I guess it was after maybe the sieges happened. That of Tyre and Gaza. Then he saw, okay, he's gaining strength there. I think I should be a bit more humble, so he sent another negotiation for peace, even granting Alexander some of the land of the Persian Empire to the west to Alexander or the Macedonians, and also offered to pay quite a ransom for, if you remember, the royal prisoners Alexander took after the Battle of Issus. It was Darius' mother, wife, and 2 daughters. But again, Alexander is said to been rejected this letter or this peace offer, and continue in preparation for the invasion of Persia. And in 331, Alexander's big army started to march, and somewhere during that time it said that Darius sent a third letter. At that point he already had his army, and I think he was more or less preparing and to be, or prepared to be, do this big battle against Alexander once again. But he tried once again, and this time he even offered Alexander a largest chunk of the Persian land. I think it was along some river in the central today Turkey. No, actually it was, I think, from Euphrates and westwards. And he also offered Alexander to have a dual kingship of the Persian Empire. So it would be two kings, with Alexander probably the Western king, and Darius would be the Eastern king. That's kind of a generous offer from Darius there. I think he was really looking for peace here, and he was prepared to give up very much to gain this peace. But and I think there is a famous quote there from Parmenia, who said something like, "If I were Alexander, I would welcome this generous offer and take peace." And then Alexander is said to respond there something in terms of, "Well, I would too if I were Parmenion," he said. But he was not Parmenion, he was Alexander, so he insisted. He wanted to get Darius' head more or less, and pursue his army into the Persian heartland. So so Darius at that point knew, okay, there was no turning back. We need to do this big battle somewhere. So he thought, of course, okay, Alexander's goal is Babylon. So he kind of wanted to repeat what Cyrus the Great, what happened with Cyrus the Great back in time. We played a scenario, if you remember back, where we had, I think it was the Battle of Cunaxa or something like that, and that was during that campaign when the Persians lured. There was some Spartans, if you remember, included there, and into some favorable terrain, and then they beat them. And Darius was thinking of doing the same thing with Alexander, thinking, of course, that Alexander would take the shortest route to Babylon, and he will meet with them there on a great plain. But things did not work as Darius had thought. Alexander actually took a more northern route. After he crossed Euphrates, he went northwards and crossed Tigris a bit more up north, where Darius hasn't been expecting them to go over. Actually had Mazeus there to block, but he couldn't manage to do that with his cavalry force. So Alexander went over. He managed to get his army to the eastern banks of Tigris, and from there he started to move southwards. And he managed to capture some scouts of Darius, and learning that Darius' army was camping not far away, actually close to a place called Gaugamela. By the way, that's in modern day Iraq. I think it's close to... I think they don't really know where the battle took place actually, but one accepted suggestion is that it was fought pretty near today's town Mosul. So it's close to the Tigris River, and I think it was a few kilometers eastwards from Tigris. So, but close to today Mosul. Anyway, the Persians did what they could. They found a big, nice plain near Gaugamela. That's why they camped there and actually waited for Alexander, because this was a good terrain. I mean, the army they had here was quite the same in size as in Issus, as I said, but this time it was not that cramped, right? There's no hills, there's no rivers that are, blocking your flanks to develop. So he could actually array the whole of his army into a big line that Alexander was, it was impossible for Alexander to match that broad line. So Darius was really prepared, and not only that, they have actually prepared the ground for the battle as well. So beforehand they have leveled the land, they have cleared it of bushes and stuff, because they wanted favorable terrain for their heavy sky chariots that they had here. About 200 of them actually. So I think we have 2 units in this game, so it's about 100 chariots in each unit here. And they also have these 15 war elephants here, and loads of cavalry. So they wanted a big plain, where they could hit Alexander decisively. So he waited and had prepared the ground. Probably Alexander knew that, and that was of course a problem, because Alexander's force was only not even the half of the one that Darius was fielding, if we go with the fact that they had 100,000 men. So that was a big problem for Alexander, but of course numbers is not all. I mean, quality-wise, the veterans of Alexander was of way more better quality than what Darius had here. Because he basically had to recruit a new army of the Isus, and well, the cavalry was said to be in really good quality, but the infantry were really poorly trained and poorly equipped. Except from some Greeks. I think it should be that unit that are the Greeks, and then he also had, and I think there were some 6,000 of them. And then this unit in the right center is said to be those immortals, and this is quite a large unit. It's 10,000 of them. So that was a good infantry here. Otherwise, not that good quality. So Alexander drew up. Darius was, though, he was taking a defensive posture here. He didn't want to do the attack. He wanted to see what Alexander do, and then, respond with his much larger force where needed. So he was passive here when Alexander drew up his lines. And Alexander, well, he knew, of course, he could easily be overlapped here by the cavalry wings. So, and he, of course, knew that the field here was prepared for the onslaught of these chariots and also elephants. So he managed to do a cunning plan here. He started to move his cavalry way to the right, to the Persian left, and even outside of the prepared territory that the Persians have done here. So Darius got a bit worried about that, because now they were moving more into rough lands here. So that more or less forced Darius to launch the attack with the cavalry led by Bessus here. So the cavalry here was attacking mostly Scythian and Bactrian cavalry on these flanks. So they attacked and actually pressed really hard here, because they first of all they had to follow the movement of the Alexander and his companions and the other cavalry here. So they stretched out their lines, and that was actually the intention of of Alexander, because at the same time the Macedonian infantry started to march and started to clash here. After taking care of the chariots that did launch their attack, where the infantry opened lanes, this was a new tactic. So basically, chariots just went through the lines, and then they were taken care of behind the phalanxes here. Really clever that as well. But the main thing with the movement to the right of Alexander here was to rip up a hole here in between the left and the center of the Persians, and he managed to do that. So the Greeks or the Macedonians were really hard pressed here by the attacks of the Persian cavalry here. But anyway, Alexander managed to detach his companions and some other cavalry, as well as some idle infantry at this point, and created a task force here, somewhere here in the where the center goes to the left flank of the Persians. So they got a hole here, and they formed a wedge and attacked here really fiercely. and actually they managed to rout this part of the line, even though we had the heaviest guys here. We also have the Royal Cavalry Guards unit here where Darius are attached to. So Darius actually fled about at this time, which also led to there was also a counterattack done by some Greek cavalry reserve that also broke the spine of the resistance here of the Persian left, who also fled when they saw what happened in the center. Over here, though, we had another interesting situation. The right-hand flank under Mazeus, where we have some heavier cavalry. We have Persians, Cappadocians, and we have, I think there were some Bactrians here as well, and Armenian cavalry and stuff like that. So quite heavy, good quality, and also a big bunch of Indian cavalry actually. So ironically, when they did the attack here, the Macedonians, they also ripped up a hole in their line between their left and center, and that was exploited by the Persians, who also attacked Parmenions' cavalry, mainly consisted by Thessalians and Thracians. So we had the Peltasts here, so they were hardly pressed, and loads of the cavalry went through the lines, the gap here, but luckily for the Macedonians, they didn't stop and attack the Macedonians in the rear and side, but instead they rode through the lines and all the way back to the Macedonian baggage train, where they started looting and also searching for Darius' mother and the other prisoners, I guess, to get them back. I think probably Darius has set a good price for those who could bring back those prisoners alive. So the cavalry went through, but still Parmenion was hard pressed by the other cavalry here, battling hard, and got forced back. And for that also the Macedonians had a smaller reserve they could throw in wherever needed if a thing like this happened. So actually they had to detach some of the reserves here to go back to the baggage train to free them from the looting Indians and other cavalry that went through here. Anyway, like in Issus, when Darius fled and the whole infantry line started routing here, Alexander had a choice. Okay, either I go back after Darius and kill him, and that could end the war basically, or I need to turn back, help my fellows here who are pressed, and win the battle by that. Because if he wouldn't do that, that could also mean that the whole Macedonian army would collapse, if their whole flank here is collapsing. So I think again this was really frustrating for Alexander, and well, he had been here before, right? So but again he chose to save his companions or his friends in the army, so he took the companion cavalry and other troops and rode back here and attacked the Persian cavalry here, who at that point also got panicked. Of course, they also were sooner or later aware of what's happening here in the main line, so they also started retreating. But I think they retreated in a more orderly fashion here, so they got back. But anyway, this was a full rout of the Persian army. Many were killed, as usual in these ancient battles. When the rout starts occurring, that's when the big casualties start piling, right? When the pursuers kill off the stragglers and fleeing guys here. But actually Darius managed to flee again. He shortly after this battle dispatched some letters to his eastern satraps to make sure they were loyal to him, even though this happened. This was a big catastrophe, of course, but he pledged for loyalty from his satraps on to the east, because he started immediately to planning for a next pitched battle here. So he needed to gain up a new army, and get the remnants from this fight and then get more Eastern troops into action for a new battle with Alexander. But that did not actually happen, because he was actually killed by one of his own satraps, and I think actually that was this guy, Bessus here, who was the satrap of Bactria, I'm sure of. And so he killed him, which Alexander got really mad of. He didn't want to see that his greatest opponent dead by such a dirty way of dying, if you can say so. So he actually did hunt for Bessus, and he got him later on and actually killed him. He was publicly executed by Alexander later on. Anyway, that's another story, but that's basically what happened here during this day, and I think they are they can pinpoint the date really quite good, because there was a when they crossed the Tigris River, the Macedonian army, there was a what is called lunar solstice or something. I think it's called like that in English. Not sure, but maybe you know what I mean anyway. So they could really pinpoint that crossing of the river to, I think it was actually the 1st of October 331, and that's pretty amazing. So anyway, this is it. So let's see about our game then. So War Council, we have of course Alexander. He has a leader with 6 command cards as usual. They move first. We had the Persian army under High King Darius III with 4 command cards. So already here it's a bit of a desperate situation. And for victory we will need to gain 7 banners. And then we have some special rules. We have the Alexander rule. We have seen that before. When he's attached to any unit, they gain one additional die in close combat. And then we have the companion cavalry. They can ignore the first sword symbol they get against them, and they always may ignore 1 flag by themselves. So pretty heavy guys there. And as you can see here, we have no terrain at all, so it's a pretty plain battle in that sense too. And but we have some units we're not seeing that often in the game. So let's check out the battle board and check out what we have there. So if we start with the Persian army here, as you can see, a big line of troops here. So let's see what we have on back in the left here. So here we have the wing with the Bactrians led by Bessus here. So we have some medium heavy cavalry here. We have light cavalry, and we have some light bow cavalry. I think we have seen that once before. And basically they work like light infantry, but with a range of 3 instead of 2 when they do ranged combat. Then we have some light infantry here back and a bow unit. Then if we continue with the line, we have some auxiliaries here. So basically pretty light infantry all the way here, with some chariots on the front. And just to recap some rules about the chariots: they move 2, they attack with 4 dice, defend with 3, and they can ignore 1. I think they can ignore 1 sword symbol in close combat. More auxiliaries here, and then we come to the center part where we have some more heavier troops. This is the quality section of the Persian army, led by Darius himself. So here we have what I think are the Greek phalanxes, about 6,000 men, Greek mercenaries. Then we have the Royal Guards, the cavalry unit, heavy cavalry here, really deadly one. And to the right of Darius we have what I think is actually the 10,000 immortals here. And but there's no special rules for these guys in this scenario, so they cannot fire any bows here, so they have no ranged capability. They're just plain medium infantry here. In front of them we have another unit of these chariots. Then we have an elephant unit, well, they are also quite special. If we encounter any special rules we need to take action on, we're gonna recap those then. But otherwise, it's they move to hexes. They have some rampage rules if they get a flag. I think they can ignore a flag by them. I need to check that. I have the chart here. Let's do a quick check here, just so we remember. They can ignore all swords hits. They re-roll any swords they get when they battle. They cannot evade. They may advance after battle. And may do another battle after that. They retreat one hex, but then they have this rampage rule, which means all adjacent units, friendly and enemy, roll 2 dice for hits. And I think this is only unit symbol hits. And they may ignore 1 hit and 1 flag when attacked by cavalry. So okay, so chariot ignores 1 sword hit, and these guys, the elephants that is, ignores all sword hits. That's pretty amazing. Okay, so further on, if we move back again, we have the immortals. Then we have another auxiliary, light infantry, light bow, and then we come to the right hand side cavalry section under Mazeus. And here we have the Armenians, the Cappadocians, the Persians, the Mesopotamians, and you name it. And that consists of 2 medium heavy cavalry and 1 light. So that's it. But pretty amazing army here. Over at Alexander's camp here, if we start from the right and check all the way back there, we have a heavy phalanx unit, and then in front of them you have 2 cavalry units. It's a light cavalry and a medium heavy. And in front of them we have some bows, and I think actually they brought in some Cretan archers into this battle, so these could be these guys. There's another archer unit there, so I don't know, maybe one of them at least are the Cretans, and I could guess they were on the right hand side here. And then here we have Alexander himself with the companion cavalry actually, so that's a medium heavy. And in front of them we have some skirmishers. Then we have a medium heavy infantry, and then 2 heavies with craterus. And then we had the other bow unit we talked about. And a bit back here we have more heavy infantry before we come to Parmenions cavalry flank that, well, they had the order just to hold these guys back as long as possible, because they were buying time, so Alexander could do his stuff here and then do the timed attack in here, which, I mean, this is just genius by Alexander. And I mean, the timing, I'm sure there was a big bunch of luck involved here, but anyway, this is quite an amazing plan he managed to pull off here. And I mean, also for Darius, I mean, he was not a bad commander, to be honest. He just had low quality troops here, so I mean, he did what he could here. He prepared everything for this battle, and he had at least 2-to-1 in ratio in manpower, but the quality was low, and Alexander was prepared for all his stuff. I mean, the chariot, you know, they opened the lanes for the chariots to run through and all that. But so I mean, Darius was not a bad commander. I'm sure of that. But anyway, great performance here. So again, back to Parmenion. So here's his cavalry that should keep these guys off until Alexander can pull off his wedge attack here. So we have himself there with a medium heavy cavalry, a light cavalry, and then back there we have an auxilia, and I bet those guys are peltasts back there. And last but not least, we have one unit of reserves, another auxilia back there. Yeah, so that's basically the army of Alexander. And if you look at it, it's yeah, they are really inferior in numbers, but quality-wise they are somewhat better. Not that much better. Okay, they have loads of these heavy infantry, but these guys are not bad, the Persians here. So this could be a difficult one for Alexander to pull off. So, well, speaking of that, let's talk about tactics then. So let's start with Alexander this time, and well, it's kind of difficult to see how we could repeat history here in any way. I mean, they don't have any. The Persians don't have no buffers here, so we can, if we just can reach the line, we are really onto Darius directly. So by that, I think there's no need to do any fancy things here. I'm gonna march towards Darius and get those guys as soon as possible, and hopefully I can also get in some skirmishing fire on these deadly guys up front here, because I want to decimate those before they hit our lines, because if they do, they could be really deadly. So I'm gonna march forward with pretty much everything I can, and well, just hit them hard. Try to get here into the heart of the Persian army and hit them hard there. That's the main plan. No really fancy things, but of course we could pull off some cavalry and attack here, because I think we have better quality than what the Persians can muster up here. So it could be an idea to go with the cavalry towards this flank, especially if we got some good cars on the right hand side. We should do that, but otherwise the infantry will just start marching forward, and it's a kind of big distance here to march. It takes a few turns before the infantry is reaching the Persian line here. So gonna be interesting to see what happens in the meantime. Here I think we're gonna be a bit more cautious, because we have a stronger Persian flank, but not that much stronger. So if they come, we are prepared and can do some attack. We have also support by skirmishers and bows and whatever here. So I think we're prepared here. As for the Persians then, well, the first thing I'm thinking of is, of course, I want to get these guys before they are decimated. I want to get in my panzers here that I have in front, you know, elephants and chariots, and just hit them hard before they go down. Thing number two I see here right away is that we are already at our baseline, and that's not a good thing. That's, by the way, one of the reasons why I want to march directly with Alexander without doing anything, because I want to catch them here at the baseline if possible. But for the Persian, even if it's dangerous, I want to start moving forward as soon as possible with the whole line, because I don't want to be straddling here and getting flags and have no retreats hexes. So we need to move upwards as soon as possible with the whole army. So a few line commands would be great. Bad thing with the line commands is that we have these cavalry in the middle here, so we basically have two different infantry lines here to tend. Unless we manage to merge them in some way, but that could take a few rounds to organize. Otherwise, well, move forward, maybe move forward with a bit more pace with the cavalry, and do some hits where we can. I mean, we have the light bow here, we could use that. If we get those in place, they could really These could be, I guess these are Scythians, and they could be really annoying against the Greek or the Macedonian right flank there. So I want to do some good use of those guys, maybe along with the foot archers here. So that would be nice to get in good attacks. So that's basically it. So let's start this. This is gonna be fun, I'm sure of that. So let's start it, and Alexander goes first. All right. Hello, war dog. here's my companion. Okay, so let's see. We have Alexander's initial hand here. A first strike right away. Interesting. What else? We have 3 units center. We have heavy troops, really good. Mounted charge, can you believe it? Really, really good. Leadership, any section, and a line command. I mean, this is pretty. Oops. This is an amazing opening hand for Alexander. I must say that. It cannot be much better, I guess. Well, the line command is cool, but we cannot really get everything into place. But I think I can do pretty much funny stuff already first turn with that card. A mounted charge is not really playable now. Heavy troops, nope. 3, that could be something. I mean, we could start the game by skirmishing with this card. Getting some fire on the elephants and chariots. This is interesting. Leadership, any section. Well, I think I'll wait with that. So I'm actually opting to play either the 3 in center or do the line command right now. The good thing with the 3 in center would be I could attach more units to each other to play the line command next time and get more orders or more units ordered by that card in that case. So I think maybe this could be really cool. Or on the other hand, I need to move out from the line here to get myself in range. Let's roll for it then. So 1 to 3, 4 to 6. It's a 2, so that means we play the 3 in the center, and that will be mostly skirmishers, I'll say. So, sorry, no. I only have 1 in center actually. Crap. Okay, forget it. We play the line command anyway. I don't know. I missed that. I mean, these skirmishers are not in the center section. I thought they were on the line, but they are not. So a line command it is. So I will now play to activate all these guys and move them forward. So, problem is I can only move one hex, so the lights cannot get in position, but I can get, well, at least something. I get 1 fire with these guys against either the elephants or these chariots. I don't know who yet, but let's see what we do. Let's move these guys forward. These guys follows. These guys. Let's move up the lights here. They cannot attack. The medium heavies. And that's it. So we're at least marching now with our heavies here towards the Persian line. And we got 1 fire. And question is, who should I try to hit? I mean, both of these guys I wonder what the rule was about, you know, being supported. And elephants, I'm not sure if they can take any support, but they can take a flag, right? Yeah, they can ignore one flag. No benefit from leader, sorry, here we are. I think there was some rule about, you know, elephants. Here it is. Support. I can put 2 more adjacent can ignore one flag. Elephants can support but not receive support. So basically those guys are not supported. But since we only have 1 die and they can... No, sorry, it's only when they're attacked by a cavalry chariot they can ignore one flag. So if we get the flag, we can panic them and they will start trampling these guys. And the thing is, if we panic them here, they retreat blocked. So I guess both of these happens, right? First they roll 2 dice for hits, and then their retreat path is blocked, and the blocking units each take 1 loss. So this would be truly amazing if you can get a hit on those elephants now. So let's see, it's 1 die and we really hope for a flag here. No, but I'm happy anyway because I got a hit on them, and that's not bad. Okay, that's it. So already in the first shower of arrows here, the elephants start panicking, or at least start going down. Not bad at all. So let's see. Now it's the Persians with the forehand card. We've got to remember we have Alexander with the first strike here. Okay, they have a rally, really good. 3 units right, that's nice because we want to maybe press on. Especially now when those guys seem to be isolated. If we could get there and hit them, that would be nice. We have a Clash of Shields, we can obviously not play that now, but really good. I mean, both players have a good hand. Because, I mean, Dark in the Sky are going to be nice as well when they start coming into skirmish range here, but not yet. The bad thing though, we don't have really good card for movement here. It's only 1 round, so basically we had to play that card. It's 3 right. So, bad thing, we cannot get our elephant into safety. Question is, what should we do? Which 3 units should we activate now? Should we just start moving up our cavalry, or should we do something else here? Well, if we would activate that bow unit, we could get 2 fires on his bow unit there. That could be nice. They are not supported, so we could force them back out of range of our elephants. Maybe that's a good thing to do now. We could even get 3 hits in. So let's do like this. We're gonna activate the light infantry, the bow, and some light cav. So these guys moves there. These guys let's move them there. And these guys can actually dare to go all the way up there. 1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 3. We could even go 1 more actually. Should we? No, I think we stay there. We play it a bit safe. So let's start here. It's one die attack. Ah, I got that flag. So they go back 2, they need to go there. This means our bow has no target, but our light cavalry can fire again. But this time those guys are supported, so who should we hit? It's better to hit someone. Ah, but those are the only guys in range. Okay, so let's pour some javelins over those guys again. Another flag, but this time they are supported, so they will not go anywhere. We can take one flag with our light cavalry here, 1, 2, 3, 4, but if we get more, we are in trouble. So we go back to Alexander. Okay, now they got 2 heavy troop thingies here, but what should we do here? I'm thinking of this plan. I'll play 3 in the center. Move up the companion cavalry and some other cavalry into position. Hold on for 1 turn. Then I think I play the charge and do some heavy hitting here with Alexander and his companions, and maybe also those lights. And then I could once more activate them with leadership and activate Alexander, and either, depending on the situation, continue to hammer or bring the cavalry back after that charge. Does that sound good? Well, let's do that anyway. So it's 3 units. Gonna be those guys, gonna be the companions, and 1 more. I'm pretty tempted to attack those guys again. I think as a 3rd guy, I'm gonna bring up these so they don't get straggling there. So, and this is a bit of a risky maneuver, I'd say, because I will not move too far forward, but I'm still in range of his chariot's attacks, and that could be really deadly actually, but I will take the risk. I hope he don't attack with those guys. At least he got them in 2 different sections, so maybe he only can attack with 1. But let's see. And these guys, they will follow up here. So it's nice to have them in 1 big line here. So that's basically it. So no combat happening in this turn. We give Alexander another card, and then we check what Darius does. Okay. I mean, can you believe this hand? Clash of Shields, Dark in the Sky, Rally, and I am Spartacus. This is a golden hand, but there's no movement here. Or basically there is. We could move with these guys, and maybe we should. I mean, the other cards doesn't make really sense to play now. We only have 1 guy who could do ranged combat at the moment, so I don't want to use that. I can't really use that because we haven't lost any units, and or we have lost a elephant there, but and also elephants and chariots cannot be rallied actually. So this doesn't make sense. Clash of Shields, of course not. So we more or less need to play Ion Spartacus, but that could be a good thing, because if we get both of the chariots activated by this card, I will roll them in against the Macedonian cavalry now. So I was lucky to get these now. The bad thing is we only have 4 dice, of course, for these this one. But anyway, let's do it. Let's see what happens. And we were lucky again. Okay, this is a dummy, but these are really great. 2 reds and a blue. So I will of course take my chance to attack with the chariots now. It's just crazy good. I wonder if cavalry can evade from chariots. Evade may against foot and heavy mounted. Okay, chariots are heavy mounted, so actually those guys can evade. That's bad. That's bad. Maybe we should hit something else. Well, that chariot has only 1 target. Those guys cannot evade, so we can hit those lights pretty hard. Yeah, well, anyway, we got also a medium heavy. Who should that be then? Well, I think we could move up Mazeus now. Get him prepared for an assault. Or maybe we should wait with him and put these guys. I'm not sure. No, I'm gonna take him, but I'm gonna place him 1, 2, and 3 here. Now he can be part of any hits against the center as well. Well, it's a bit dangerous to be adjacent to these guys, that's for sure. But anyway, so I will go here and I will go here. And now we're gonna battle. And well, let's start. Let's start here. We're gonna attack Alexander himself. And I guess I want to evade. Wait a minute, they got 5 dice. Ah, that's too dangerous. We need to evade. So we go back. Too bad they hindered our cavalry charge. But anyway, they got 5 dice and they still hit with the blue symbol. So they got 1 hit on the companion cavalry. That was really not good. And we also need to check if Alexander survived that chariot attack. Yeah, he did, no problem. And since they evade, these guys cannot momentum. These guys will actually attack here because those guys cannot evade. That's pretty awesome. So we can even get them. So it's 5 dice. And 1 and 2 hits. And the flag they can ignore, no leaders, and that's a dummy. So, well, we got 2 down. Maybe not that awesome. And they will actually battle back. And they are not adjacent to leader, so they missed completely. That's cool. And that's it. But I need to reshuffle the deck now as I play the Spartacus card, so I'm back in a short while. Okay, so I have reshuffled the deck, but I just came to think of something. The Macedonians had the first strike card, right? So actually, I think we're gonna redo this battle where we cannot evade if the first strike is activated. So I'm gonna roll a die, and if I get something that affects these units, this is my solo rule. So if I roll a die first, if I get a result that affects this in any way, either a loss or retreat, then I will play it. So basically I need to roll a red or a flag for the first strike to activate. And I rolled a flag, so that's enough to activate. So I'll play the first strike here now. So we're gonna put back these 2 because we're gonna re-roll the history a bit here or rewind. And now we're gonna first roll with the lights. And actually, if they get the flag now, the chariots cannot harm them. So this could be quite an important one. No, they missed completely. that was bad. So now we're going to roll again with the 5 dice for Darius Chariots. And this time they missed completely, so no losses dealt here. That was bad for both sides, because those guys missed completely and Macedonians lost the first strike totally. And I now realize I got to reshuffle again because this card needs to be also in the deck. So hold on for a while, I'm back soon. Alright, at last in phase here. So since those guys, the Macedonians, played the first strike, I have drawn a new card to them first, and then oops, so going over the edge there, and then to the Persians. So now Macedonians again have a 5-card hand. So okay, it's 4 right. Maybe that's something we could play now. Move, fire, move. Okay, that could be an interesting one as well. And hit and run. No, I was thinking of playing the 4 right to get Alexander into position again. He could of course attack also. And I mean, with a bit of luck we could get the chariots, both of them, since they did such a, not that of a good of a charge. Well, they got one of the companion cavalry blocks, and that's, I guess it's pretty good, but I think I need to hit them, so I'm gonna play 4 right now for the Macedonians. So that's yeah, it's basically all 4 here. Like that. Let's put it like that. We start with yeah, who should we start with? Let's put these guys 4 on 1 hex. They will fire at someone. Alexander will go here. The light cavalry, well, these guys will go up towards the center. So they are on both sections here, center and right. And the light cavalry, should I do some attack here or something? I don't want to go too far because they have quick moving cavalry, so they can quickly get into my rear and hinder me from retreating, and that cavalry unit will be lost pretty soon in that way. So I think I will go a bit cautious and just move them forward 1 hex. Maybe 2 hexes. Okay, no, I'm in range of that bloody archer unit there. So I'm gonna leave it here and then do some combat. So let's start with Alexander. He will attack this chariot now. And they got 3 dice from the beginning and 1 more die because we have Alexander with us. So 4 dice. We would need 2 hits. We got 1 to 2 hits, no, because chariots, see again, they ignore 1 sword hit. So that's actually a miss. That's a hit. But then we got a flag. But could they also ignore flags? How was it again? I always forget. No, they cannot ignore any flags actually, from what I can see. So they lose 1 block and then they have to retreat 2 hexes. 1, 2. This means Alexander can go in and do another attack, and he will do that against the next chariot there. This time we got in actually 4 hits, so this time we got them. And we got the first Macedonian victory banner. But I mean, we are getting those chariots in a different way than in history. You remember in history they rode through the infantry lines and then they got taken care of behind it. But this time it's Alexander himself who deals with them. That's pretty cool. So he could actually move in once more here. But I don't want to do that. I want to keep a retreat and evade path open here in case this guy come back. And then we have a 1-die attack with a bows, and I'm gonna take my chances to hit that chariot now. So I need a red for that. Ah, that's a blue. Too bad. So these guys are showering the chariot with arrows as they retreat, but didn't manage to damage them enough. Okay, that was Macedonians. Let's give those guys another card and see what the Persians can do now. 2 units center. Well, I fear I'm gonna lose my heavies here pretty soon if I don't do anything. I could do a last attack here with those guys again. It's gonna be an expensive exchange. Thinking of actually doing this again. I know this is crazy, and I'm giving the Macedonians a few banners in, but I hope to be able to harm something here. So I'm gonna go here and here. A bit crazy, but I'm gonna do it. So I don't know. That elephant move is really not good because you only get 2 dice on that light unit. What the heck, let's try it anyway. The elephant attacks the lights, he's 2 dice. Remember, I can reroll any swords, so that could be good. Okay, not that fancy. We got 1 hit. They will of course battle back, and that could be the end of my elephants. No, I'm all lucky there. So the elephant is still going strong, and the chariot does an attack here. That's 4 dice. And would need 3 hits here. Got 1 of them and a flag. That's not enough. Oh man, this was a waste actually of Persian resources, but they will now hit back, and they hit me of course. So I'm done, and the Macedonians get another banner. I've kind of had a bad feeling about this when I did it, but yeah, I don't know. Oh, by the way, that was the 2 units center. So by that, I think I end this session here. I'm not too happy how I played the Persians right now, I must say, but I'm pretty much giving away some banners here and some heavy troops, but those are so friggin' fragile, and it's hard to get them behind my lines because I'm on the baseline here, so they're gonna get skirmished to death anyway if I just stand here. So I thought, okay, let's do something. I was hesitating. Maybe I should have done another attack against Alexander and his guys there, but well, I hoped I could get these guys, but that didn't happen. Anyway, interesting opening here anyway. We are seeing the Macedonians slowly moving forward. We are seeing the Persian doing some desperate attacks with their heavy mounted, the chariots and their elephants. Not getting that much of successes here, but at least I got one of the companion cavalry blocks away here, and that's always something. Otherwise, I think the Macedonians had the better start, with Alexander himself dealing with the chariots here. So, thanks for watching, guys, and hope you will be back soon for part 2. Bye for now.